Hey, so this is going to be my E12S breakdown, and we're going to look at the first phase here of Eden's Promise, right? So, just the door boss in this video, and then I'll do another video for the Oracle of Darkness. So, these are the markers that I would recommend using for the fights to do a particular Lions strategy, which we will see later on in the video. There are, of course, other marker combinations which would be used for different strategies, right? So we're gonna look at my week 1 POV here. Again, we had a different marker setup again because it was a week, right? So not the optimal strategy, but we'll look at Xeno's video for Lions when we do get up to there. But like most fights in the game, you tank the boss in the middle here. Obliteration is the AoE. It has since been renamed to Maleficium to keep it consistent with what it was called in the normal mode. So it has a different name than what you'll see in this perspective, I guess. Alright, so recurring mechanic throughout the fight are these crystals in the north here, right? And so the leftmost crystal and the most right crystal are different than the other four in the middle. So we'll cover the outside two first. That's what we have to worry about here first. So he will attune to either the leftmost or the rightmost crystal. It's random. In this case, he's attuned to the the leftmost. You just tell by which he's tethered to. And then this will give him an elemental effect of that crystal. So the leftmost one is Titan. You can tell by the debuff here on his debuff list, I guess. Or you can tell by the little rocks that float around him. So he's earth attuned here. If it was Shiva, it'd be little icicles floating around him, or a nice debuff down here. So this cast here is just a giant cleave. It's a little bit wider than half the arena. So you just need to go on the side that isn't getting cleaved. And then after the cleave happens, the element that they're attuned to will release, right? So Titan is you just split into two halves with your healers, because it'll hit the healers. So one half of the group will go up here, the other half of the group will go down south. And you just stack for those cleaves. So you just split the group in two. One tank, one healer, two DPS. Alright, we can get a good look at the crystals here. Or a better look, I guess. Sorry for my blurry POV. So the four inner crystals essentially just do AoEs, right? So, and the boss will always channel two of them at once, whereas in normal, the boss only channels one of them. So here is channeling Ramu and Garuda. So Ramu is just a circle around the boss, and you just need to pull off for it. It's just a chariot. Garuda just cleaves everywhere but the intercardinals, so only the intercardinals are safe. Leviathan cleaves his two sides, so just inside, the north and the south, safe. And Ifrit cleaves everywhere but the east and west, so only east and west are safe. So here, Garuda, Ramu, so intercardinals are safe, and you just need to pull off the boss, because he'll do a chariot. Again, he's still attuned to Titan here. Again, you can tell by the debuff, so you just need to make sure you stack afterwards. Split and soak the damage. This here, Formless Judgment, is the tank buster, and you just swap during the cast. It'll hit each tank twice, or whoever has the second highest and highest aggro. So you just need to make sure the off tank has second highest aggro. Yeah, if you are going to immunity, you both have to immunity together. Or still do the swap. And then this here is Junction Shiva, so this is our first mechanic dump of the fight. It always begins with Shiva. There's no randomness to the order that these mechanics happen. Junction Shiva. Just want to have everyone move towards the center of the boss here, just under the hitbox. And she is going to change the floor, make it slippery. So there'll be two safe spots, they're directly opposite each other always. And then there's 2 AoEs on the healers again, so you just need to have one group go one side and the other group the other side. You just assign some rule for this, right? So one group takes the east, the other group takes the west, right? And then, you know, one group takes. Just have that rule, and you just slide to the safe spot. As the stack marker goes off, and the AoEs explode, there'll be this new AoE placed in the previous safe spots, and each player will individually be marked for a singular AoE, which they just need a spread for. You just need to assign some rule for how you're going to slide for the spread. So we did the ranged DPS go to the left of the AoE, looking outside of the arena. Healer go to the right of the AoE, looking outside the arena. And the melee will do a spread on the side around the boss's hitbox. Tanks. There is some fancy footwork you can do with gap closers there as well, if you are a melee or a tank. Yeah, essentially just need to spread them out like so. Covering the arena again in more AoEs, you'll just go to the 2 safe spots. And after that resolves just before the knockback, you just need to position in such a way that you're going to get pushed so that you're away from the icicle that you do. So it's proximity based, you just need to use the knockback. You have to, because you need to arm's length and sorry, you might not have to. I confuse myself, maybe, but regardless, just put the icicles, spread for the icicles, as well as being far away from the one that you're tethered to. And then that's the end of Junction Shiva. So, obliteration, just more AoE here. Nothing fancy, just a bit of downtime before the next mechanic. So the next mechanic is Junction Titan. Which I'm gonna go over to this POV here by Miwa to have to look at for this. So we're going to look at DS Titan, which I'll include a picture of this, the link to this picture in the description. So it always happens in this order as well, just as a note. So it'll always be this combination, into this combination, into this combination, and we'll see that here in a second. So big AoE, just as the same as it was for Junction Shiva. Arena will change, and there'll be these circular bombs spread out around, right? Everyone will get the markers similar to E12S above the head. So yellow ones you just need to take solo. Orange ones you need to take with at least one other person. The blue ones will explode. Originally it was tiles, but again here it's circles. It'll explode the circle that you're standing on, as well as the neighboring circles. And so you just spread like so. So you have the tanks and the healers always take the east side of the arena. The DPS take the west side of the arena. So we're watching a healer POV, so he's going to take east. Oranges are on the east and the west. The blue is in the south. That was the first set there. Second set, so 2 orange splits on the east and the west. Healers and east. And then there'll be the blue markers. Blue markers you'll have to eyeball. Random, right? Or communicate. Communication's always better, right? So they will just go to the north. That's the second set. And finally, the third set. Same thing, stack will be in the north. 2 players marked with the yellow will go to their respective sides based on their role. And then the blues in the southeast and southwest. Again, blues will have to communicate or eyeball. You see that happening here. Again, healer. So east. And that is Junction Titan resolved. We'll just skip through it here so that we can get back here. So after that, again, a brief moment of downtime while they do some AoE, so we'll pass that a bit. And then here, he's going to channel 2 of the Primal Crystals. Again, always happens in pairs. And you can't tell what it is by the tethers here, right? So that it has a unique tether. So from the tank perspective, you don't have to keep turning your camera if it's just easier to learn what the different tethers are. But so Ramu is this purple one, Leviathan is this watery one, the north, south, and out. There is this giant orb in the south which will shoot a beam at the party, which needs to be split. So you just need to generate some rule for how the party is going to move as a collective here for this particular one. So you can say always in the south and always towards the east when necessary, right? And that's because you need to take the beam as a group. If someone was off by themselves, dodging it in their own way, then they're potentially going to take the beam solo and die. You just need to have some rule there. You pull the boss south like so after that. Just some more AoE. And we're set up for the next mechanic. So it's stockpiling this here. So it's stockpiled north, south, out again. And then it's going to do stack markers on the healer. So you have one healer on the front, one on the butt. And then where those stacks were, these pillarmen are going to appear, these stone men. And they're going to tether to half the group each. And then each half will be numbered 1 through 4. So you just need to identify which one you're tethered to, as well as what your number is. So I have number 1, and I'm tethered to this one in the south here. He's going to cleave one half of the arena. You go to the side not getting cleaved, and then you just need to point the tethers out in order, numerical order. It's really easy, and the pillarmen are just going to shoot giant beams. So I have number 1, so I'm pointing out first. Meanwhile, party stacking between. Giant beam goes out. I collapse into the safe spot. Number 2s are going to go point out. Number 3s are going to go point out. Just as number 3 was happening, the boss, the big version of the boss, I guess, always in the south here, will decide to raise one of his hands, so either the southeast or the southwest, and he will do a knockback from that side. So he raised this hand here, you can tell by the purple effect as well. He's going to do a knockback from this side. So the 4th numbered markers go out, they take their beam, and then the knockback's going to happen. Then immediately after the knockback, the boss is going to cast Release. And yeah, so you just need to remember what Primal was stockpiled and do that correctly. Just go to the correct spot. Just some more AoE. And we're going to go into what is known as Lions next. So Tank Buster. The boss will then stockpile another Primal pair afterwards. And yeah, you go into Lions. So I'm going to go over to Xenos POV here. So stockpiling Ramu, Leviathan, so north, south, out. And then lions will appear around the outside of the arena. So there's a big lion in the north and the south, and then there's 4 small lions in the west. Sort of see. Small lions will tether to half the group. It is role based, so it'll either be the tanks and the healers who get tethered, or it'll be the DPS. It is random. In this case, Xenos as a tank got tethered, so tanks and healers. Small lions. So we're going to cover the small lions first, just because. So from his POV, the boss is going to cleave one half of the arena. Then as the cleave resolves, players who are tethered are going to go to the number marker, so 1, 2, 3, 4, closest to the lion that they're tethered. Player over here is tethered to this line, so they'd go to 4. Tethered to that line, you would go to 3. Venus is on 1 here, right? The lions are all going to shoot these flames at who they're tethered. Now this knockback, you're going to shortcast an arm's length, and players at 3 and 2 here are going to swap. So the west side markers are going to crisscross. Meanwhile, the players at 1 and 4 are just going to stay with. Next set of flamethrowers will be shot out there, and then the boss will begin, will finish casting release, so you just need to move to wherever the stockpile was, so it was north, south, out in case. So north, south, and pull off the boss. And immediately afterwards, you go back to the same markers that you were for the second set. So the players on the west side remain crossed. Now I will note that if you aren't, you don't have the little lines, the tethers, it's okay to take a singular flamethrower. You will survive. So long as you don't, so long as it's one, you'll be fine. Now for the big lines here, so the big lines will flamethrower whoever is closest to them, and it'll leave a longer lasting debuff on them, so you got to interchange who is going to take each of the flamethrowers. And the flamethrowers all happen at the same time. So for the healers, you would have the healers bait first flamethrower from the big line, tank bait second, healer third, ranged for DPS, ranged DPS first, melee, ranged, right? So again, closest, so you can sort of just see it, this player standing in the north here, under the big line. First bait, you're just going to put in directly the north-south and point it out. And wherever the big lines cleave, they're going to leave this AoE puddle on the ground behind them. And then after that first bait, you would just use the lettered markers, so AB for the next bait from the big line, so you can see they're already setting up over here on those markers. Second big line baits will be on. Third big line baits, you would use D and C. C is up there and D. You just use the lettered markers instead of the numbers for the line baits, right? Stand in the center of the markers, and it should be. There are the safe spots are important to sort of learn where they are in the arena. There should always be a safe spot like right here, east of the boss, as well as there should be a safe spot sort of over there, as well as in the north. Again, refer to the toolbox to sort of learn where those are, because it would sort of be hard to cover from the POV here. Wouldn't be of much value, I guess. But we'll skip through lines here back on my POV. Yeah, and that's essentially lines. It ends with a cleave, and then yeah, cleave one half again. Once you get through lines, that's essentially the entirety of the fight over. There's nothing new here. Just going to stockpile some mechanics again. So, stockpiling Garuda Ramu, so intercardinals out here. And then it's going to try and bait you by immediately doing one afterwards. So it's prepping Titan, so it's tuning Titan, so it'll have the Titan effect. Then it's going to immediately do this one here. So it's going to do Leviathan Ramu, which is north, south, out. North, south, out. Then you split into your Titan stacks. And then again, AoE, some filler. And it's going to do the opposite, so it did Titan there, so it's going to do Shiva now. But again, that's random, but it'll always do one and then the other. And it's going to try and get you with the bait, with the release. So you just need to remember what it originally stockpiled. And in this case, it was Garuda Ramu, so intercardinals are safe. Just need to pull off for the chariot. And Shiva is spread. The party is just going to spread here. And that is the entirety of Eden's Promise, well, the door boss here. So I'll do a separate video for the Oracle of Darkness, which is the second phase. It is checkpoint, so whatever time you have left remaining on the timer is the time that you will have left to do the second half of the fight, I suppose. But yeah, it just finishes the phase with a tank buster, 2 sets of AoE, and then it begins its enraged cast. Yeah, thank you for watching.